Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight I just finished watching episode 5 of Ahsoka, and just like last episode, I had an amazing time, and I'm just trying to process everything that happened. It didn't end on like this super hype, surprise, shocking moment like last episode did, so like that last one we all like saw Anakin, we're just like, oh my god, because it was a literally last second surprise. This one ends with like we have so much stuff that happened in this episode where I'm just left thinking about it all, like I'm still buzzing and I'm still like trying to process everything that I just saw. We got a lot of stuff that we wanted, and I think they showed a lot of restraint, and some people are going to be upset and wish that they just went all out and showed every rumor, every speculation in regards to like Anakin and the world between worlds and all the stuff that we saw there. I feel like they showed a lot of restraint. They did enough without doing too much, because I feel like you easily could have overdone it. And like they showed us enough flashbacks. They showed us enough like images. Like here's here's the early Clone Wars, here's the last season of the Clone Wars, here's Anakin, becoming, Sith, becoming Darth Vader, where he's got the Sith eyes and the red lightsaber, so like they show us enough, and he's trying to get this point across to Ahsoka, which I think is going to be kind of vaguely up to interpretation. It was something to the effect of, hey, you have to fight to have the will to live. You can't just like be a complete pacifist, like in order to live you have to fight, but also maybe you need to be more than a warrior, right? Because there is this point brought up about how like when I was being trained, this is what Anakin tells her, when I was being trained, the Jedi were peacekeepers, but when you're being trained, it's a time of war, so you're being trained as a soldier, and Ahsoka's kind of like, is that all that I am? Am I just a soldier? Do I just have to train my apprentice to be a soldier? Like basically what she was trained to be as a Jedi was different, because the galaxy was literally at war, and of course the famous Attack of the Clones moment, like we're peacekeepers, not soldiers, like in like 5 minutes later they're generals in a war, so like there's a lot of like, that's kind of what I'm still kind of buzzing about it, but like, okay, so what was the true lesson here? Like, what was actually trying to be conveyed? But more than anything, I suppose it was just that Ahsoka, you're gonna have to fight to live. Basically, you have to choose life. Like I'm sure it's deeper than that, but that's essentially what it summed up to. But in the meantimes, yeah, we got what can I say? We got live action Clone Wars. We get to see like what this really looks like, and of course, for like a decade now, people have wondered like, so what does Clone Wars look like? And or I guess over a decade. Anyways. Oof. What does live action Clone Wars look like? You've seen a million. We've gotten live action Ahsoka finally, but like everyone's always like, yeah, but like the costumes they had in the Clone Wars, we never got to see that, So we got to see that, and then we got to see season 7, and they're fighting, and he's got the red lightsaber and the Sith eyes, and then Ahsoka gets Sith eyes for a second, and it's a really great fight there. And like I said, I feel like they did enough and they didn't go overboard. Like they at some point, I kind of do still want the conversation that they kind of alluded to here, about how like Ahsoka's like, yeah, you are more, like, because Anakin's like, well, you're more because I'm more, so like that's it's the legacy of being trained and all that. But she's like, yeah, you were more dangerous, if that's what you mean. You're more dangerous than anybody realized. And he's like, oh, is that what this is about? And I'm like, and to me, I'm like, yeah, Anakin, that's kind of what this is about. That's kind of what this whole thing is about. So don't just be all nonchalant, like, oh, we gotta bring this up again. Like, yeah, that time that you spent 20 years as a fascist, evil murder machine. Like, yeah, I think we gotta bring it up. Let's have the conversation. So they don't really dive into it. I mean, they kind of physically have their fight about it. But like, you know, I'm still kind of waiting for them to like, you know, I want her to talk to Spirit Anakin, which I've already seen some people debate, like, is this actually Spirit Anakin, or was this just her mind? Was this just the Force itself trying to talk to her? Was this actually the spirit of Anakin itself? I'm gonna go ahead and say yes until I'm told otherwise. But yeah, I do still want them to have that conversation of like, hey, so we never really like talked about it. You kind of, you know, you turned evil there, and we fought, and I met your son. We didn't talk about your son at all. Like, Luke, that is one thing. Luke Skywalker does not get brought up at all, and they're having this whole thing. So I understand they managed to keep this about Ahsoka, about teaching Ahsoka a lesson, about going through Ahsoka's memories. So like, this was not, you know, the big talk yet, you know, like, and I'm still kind of waiting for the big talk. And technically it's possible that that has already happened, you know, because remember, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, maybe even 6 years. So it's possible that the big talk between Ahsoka and Anakin about everything that happened, about Luke, and about the time that they fought on the Sith Temple. Why am I blanking on the planet? Anyways, Malachor. Anyways, the big talk that we're kind of waiting on, we still haven't quite seen. This was more about teaching her a lesson, and I'm fine with that. They showed restraint. I'm okay with that. I can see if some people complain that they wanted a little bit more, they wanted them to, like, you know, kind of hash it out about like, so what really happened there? Like, Palpatine promised you something? Like, what? Like, does Ahsoka even know the whole story? We don't know that, and I think that is something that I'm still kind of waiting for them to address. Like, what does Ahsoka know? What does Luke know? You know, like, has the spirit of Anakin shown up and explained himself as to why this all happened? About like, yeah, Padme was gonna die, I had visions of it, and he promised me this. Because, like, as far as I'm aware, that's never been said. Like, Luke doesn't know that, and Ahsoka doesn't know that, you know? So, like, are they just sitting here wondering for years now, like, why did this happen? Anyways, having said all that, yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I liked the fight. I liked, of course, all the Clone Wars content, and, you know, that's... There were so many shots and so many moments. We saw Rex, and we saw just, like, Clone Wars coming out of the mist and the fog, and... the thing about the fog, by the way, is that on one hand it's like, okay, that definitely cut down, that like helped the budget, you know, like they didn't have to create this whole background cityscape of Ryloth or whatever planet they were on, right? They were able to just kind of make, you know, this little span of the volume, right? But also having it be all foggy and misty kind of helped the dream-like effect that it was supposed to be. Like, this is just a weird foggy memory, because when you think back in your memories, like try to remember something right now as I'm talking, you know, you're really only remembering details at a time. You're not picturing like the entire landscape as you see it now. You know, you have to like focus on individual things in order to make them pop up in the memory. You know, so like it definitely like helped convey that, while also probably saving on the budget a little. That they didn't have to build Ryloth, you know, for like that one scene, so that was good. Also, Jacen Syndulla got a lot of attention this time. You know, like of course we knew, you know, he's got the Force, he's sensing things, but this one like doubled down to like really convey that, like, okay, he's sensing something in the water, he can tell there's something out there, he can hear their lightsabers being fought, like he's sensing all this stuff go on. You know, and then Huyang just has to straight up say it, like, yeah, okay, Kanan Jarrus was his father, he was a Jedi, so Jacen's got abilities. They said Kanan's name. That's gonna make a lot of people happy. They finally said Kanan's name, because, you know, it does kind of become this thing where, you know, we all watch the animated series and we know these characters, but the live action show has not said the names of these characters, and so we're kind of like, are they just not gonna mention it? It seems weird that they're not, and so they finally did, like, okay, it's Kanan's name, he's the son of a Jedi, he's sensing stuff. You know, in Ahsoka, when she comes back, Ahsoka's like, oh, I owe you my life, like, and you kind of get this kind of feeling like, okay, Jason, like, she has to be considering Jason for training, right? Like, and they even kind of make a joke about it, like he's gonna go on Ahsoka's ship, and he's like, oh, you have a Jedi training room? Do you know how to build a lightsaber? Can you build me a lightsaber? And Hu Young's like, nope. So it's definitely like Jason's already fully into it. He's like, just let me build a lightsaber, let me start training, I'll do this now. So they're not even like being shy about the fact that Jason's absolutely gonna get trained by somebody. I would not be surprised if they finally get Ezra back and he's like, hey Jason, you want to go train? He's like, okay, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening. I feel like that would be a nice kind of full circle. Kanan trains Ezra trains Kanan's son. That would be a nice circle there. And yeah, just we get a lot more moments with the New Republic, and they kind of have to stall them, and so we get some funny moments. We're introduced to a couple new like fleet commanders and generals and such, and Hera's she's in trouble. I don't know what's gonna happen there, because obviously she took a couple X-Wings and went off on this mission even though they told her no, and now they want her to report back to Coruscant, and they're like, Mon Mothma's like, you're gonna need Ahsoka to help you testify, otherwise, like, these people are wanting to take away your rank. They're wanting to like strip you of all your titles, so like, you're gonna, and the thing is, Ahsoka's gone. She went inside the mouth of of one of the Purrgil, which, by the way, the shot when the Purrgil's mouth is closing on the ship, it looks exactly like The Empire Strikes Back when they first discover they're inside the mouth of one of those space worms, and the mouth starts opening up. It's like the complete opposite of that. So George Lucas, they rhyme. It's poetry. They rhyme. It's exactly the same shot. So that was pretty cool. I don't know what Hera's gonna do, because Hera's still in this galaxy. She's expected to report to Coruscant, and she's possibly gonna lose her rank now, and she's in trouble, and I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen with that, because seemingly Ahsoka and Hu Young are going to the new galaxy, and we'll I assume that the show will follow them. We'll get the occasional Hera checkup, like, okay, what's happening with her over here, because they kind of left her in a, I mean, she's being like a really good friend, right? Like, she stalled them, she helped Ahsoka escape and go with the Purrgil, and they're gone now. And Hera's just kind of left here with her son and be like, well, I might be out of a job now, because I don't have anyone to explain what just happened or why I did all this. But in any case, yeah, just really, really cool episode. We don't see any Baylan or oh my god, Shin Hati. Sorry, I'm forgetting these names sometimes. We don't see any of them or what's going on in that other galaxy, so I imagine that's what all of the next episode's gonna be about. And I will say that about the show, it's like especially these last couple episodes, it's like, this episode we're all just like waiting to see what happens in this Anakin World Between Worlds, and now we're waiting to see what happens in this new galaxy, because we still haven't seen it. We don't know what it even looks like, so we just have a lot of stuff happening. And we have, I think, 3 episodes left. I am having a really, really good time with this show. It has not disappointed. The fights are amazing, and my thing is, I feel like they're doing everything right. They're giving us the fan service. They're giving us all the all the fanboy dreams of, like, I want to see Clone Wars in live action. Like, they're giving us all this stuff. But, again, they're showing the proper amount of restraint. They're being responsible with it. They're not overindulging in that, because then it kind of just becomes just the cheap nostalgia, like, oh, look at this, clap, look at this, clap. It's like they're doing it for narrative reasons, like it's not just here just because the fans wanted it. It's here because, like, it makes sense to be here and it makes sense to do this. So they're just man, they're doing it right. They're doing everything right, and I'm sure we're gonna, rumor has it we're gonna see Anakin again. Maybe even just some small glimpses of Anakin, but I'm sure we'll see some things. They did name drop Senator Organa, so they name drop Leia there. So I don't know if we're ever gonna see any of the original trio there. I don't know if they'll show up. Obviously, I think Luke is the most likely one because he's the only one we've seen show up in the Disney Plus shows so far. But they did name drop Leia, so there is that. They said it. They mentioned that like she's she's trying to hold off the rest of the Senate and helping Hera out as much as she can. So like even in the background, Leia is still doing cool stuff, just off screen so far. But yeah, just I feel good about what we got. Obviously the truth is there is always going to be stuff that both myself and other fans want out of the whole Anakin situation. I want them to have this conversation. I want them to bring this thing up. I want them to talk about this. I want to see this. Are they ever gonna mention this thing? Because there's just honestly, there are so many characters that were intertwined with the Vader Anakin thing. So I feel like it was just such a smart idea to just let this be focused on Ahsoka and her journey and her memories. You don't need to bring up Luke and this and that, and even though I kind of want that, maybe save that for a book or a comic book where we can sit there and just have these long dialogue pieces. And because you still have to make this a TV show, you have to like this has to be entertaining for people. So it made sense, everything they did. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. I don't know what to say, guys. The show is just continuing to impress. Oh, and even like the shots. Can we talk about like the way the Purgle looked when they were leaving and going past the fleets, and just the size of them, and like some of these shots, like this looked like a movie. Like this was movie material right here. So I don't know what the budget of this show was, but they're just man, they're doing a really good job here. I'm really happy. Yeah. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Ahsoka episode 5, and were you happy with the Anakin material that we got, or were you still just wishing that we got more? Let me know how you guys feel, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.